Kriranganলৈ মই প্ৰাৰ্থনাই স্বাগতম জনাইছো আপোনালোক আটাইকে আজি আমি কথা পাতিম ফুটবলৰ বিষয়ে আৰু ফুটবলৰ কথা পাতিবলৈ আমাৰ লগত আছে এগৰাকী খেলুৱৈ যাৰ পৰিচয় আপোনালোক আটাই চিনি পায় তেওঁ এগৰাকী ব্যক্তি যিয়ে নেকি নিজৰ নাম তেওঁ গঢ়িবলৈ নিজে চেষ্টা কৰিলে আৰু এতিয়া বৰ্তমান তেওঁ ৰিলায়েন্স ফাউণ্ডেশ্যনৰ সৈতে জড়িত হৈ আছে তেওঁ কোচিং কৰি আছে কোচ সকলৰ লগত আৰু তেওঁ শিকাই আছে আসলতে কেনে ধৰে কোচিং কৰিব লাগে কি কৰিব লাগে তাৰ লগতে তেওঁ অৰুণাচলতো আহি স্পট টেলেন্ট হান্টিংৰ যি প্ৰক্ৰিয়া সেয়াও কৰি আছে গুম্পে ৰিমেৰ কথা কৈছো আমি আটাই তেওঁৰ সৈতে কথা পাতো আৰু ফুটবলৰ বিষয়ে জানিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰো আহক অৰুণাচল প্ৰদেশৰ আলোত জন্মগ্ৰহণ কৰা গুম্পে ৰিমে এগৰাকী পেছাদাৰী ফুটবলাৰ পেছাদাৰী ফুটবল আৰম্ভণি হয় মহিন্দ্ৰা ইউনাইটেডৰ সৈতে তাৰ পিছৰ পৰ্যায়ত তেওঁ ভাৰতৰ আগশাৰীৰ ফুটবল ক্লাব হিন্দুস্তান এৰোনটিকেলছ লিমিটেড এছচি সলগাঁওকাৰ এফচি ভাস্কো আৰু শিলং লালজঙৰ সৈতে এগৰাকী গোলকিপাৰ হিচাপে জড়িত আছিল পেছাদাৰী ফুটবলৰ পৰা অৱসৰ লোৱাৰ পাছত তেওঁ এতিয়া এগৰাকী ব্যস্ত প্ৰশিক্ষক বৰ্তমান মুম্বাইস্থিত ৰিলায়েন্স ফাউণ্ডেশ্যন য়াং চেম্পছ শীৰ্ষক এটা প্ৰগ্ৰেমৰ মুখ্য গোলকিপিং প্ৰশিক্ষক হিচাপে তেওঁ কৰ্মৰত তদুপৰি এছিয়ান ফুটবল ফেডাৰেশ্যনৰ তেওঁ গোলকিপিং প্ৰশিক্ষক হোৱাৰ লগতে অল ইণ্ডিয়া ফুটবল ফেডাৰেশ্যনৰ কোচ এডুকেটৰ অৰ্থাৎ প্ৰশিক্ষকসকলৰ প্ৰশিক্ষণ দিয়াৰ দায়িত্ব পালন কৰি আছে Northeastern footballers have really made a mark in national and international scenario. I would like to know your comment on this. How and where is that X factor that these footballers from all parts of the Northeast are, shining in different tournaments?
Well, when you look at the number of players playing in the Hero Indian Super League from the Northeastern region, that itself gives us an indication that football is very huge. Football is very popular in this part of the country. Like we have around 70 players participating in Indian Super League for various clubs even in I League as well. So football is definitely very big in Northeast and it's the most popular sports in our region.
See, like you said, 70% of our boys from Northeast are dominating the game now in different clubs and be it ISL or I League or the Indian team. They're doing so well. So where's the X factor? Where does the X factor comes from?
I think Northeastern region itself is, since most of the places are mountainous, and we don't have the facility of going to school in a rickshaw or a bus. Many people, they go walking. Then very early on, then we have the physical activities in the hills, and the lifestyle of ours. We eat differently. We eat very less oil, and these things I think definitely helps in a natural way. And of course, regular training also helps our boys to get better.
So coming to your own football career, as a coach, you were associated after you ended up your career as a professional footballer. You have been associated with a lot of clubs, and right after that, you jumped in from Shillong Lajong, the place where you were working last, and then to Reliance Foundation. How did this entire limp from Shillong Lajong to Reliance network happen, and what is your job profile as of now?
Of course, the more you work with different organizations, it gives you a lot of experience dealing with different people, learning different style of working environment, gives you a lot of experience. So I'm fortunate enough, I started my coaching career after retiring from active participation and became coach in Shillong Lajong. And then I joined Tata Football Academy. I think where I could upgrade my coaching credentials, and again I went back to Shillong again to head the youth development process there. And then it's been a long association with the club. I'm very thankful to the club management for giving me this platform and opportunity to grow myself as a coach. And then I recently, for the last 4 years, I'm working with Reliance Foundation. Reliance Foundation, we have a football development program called Young Champs. So where talented kids from across the country are scouted and they are given a scholarship. It's all about developing them not only as footballers but as a good human being as well, and a lot of life skills are also taught there. including the academic development of the child, is taken care of there.
You've been given a huge responsibility, isn't it? Youth development is something which we look up to, like we look up to Rahul Dravid when it comes to cricket, you know, developing young players and grooming them, polishing them. So you also have been given a huge responsibility. You also teach and do a lot of program for coaches, which is also very, very important, because coaching for coaches is also very important. How do you take this entire challenge?
First of all, we need to understand as a coach, when we're working with young children, it's not about winning. I think it's all about development of young children. At youth level, it's all about individual player development. So I think that's where sometimes we go wrong, when we try to win games, when we're dealing with young children, and a lot of unwanted thing happens. So it's a very, we need to be responsible, and we need to focus on development of individual and the development of young children. And at the same time now, since I'm part of the coach education department, so I'm a coach educator also at the same time.
Right.
So we try to help the coaches understand more about development rather than focusing on winning at young age. And I think it's slowly bearing fruit. Our head of coach education, Mr. Sabio Materia, is very particular about it, and then under his guidance we are slowly trying to make the coaches aware and understand that when you're working with young children, it's all about development.
উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ আটাইতকৈ জনপ্ৰিয় খেল হিচাপে পৰিগণিত হৈছে ফুটবল। অসম তথা উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ বিভিন্ন ঠাইত এইবিধ খেল যথেষ্ট জনপ্ৰিয়। শেহতীয়াকৈ এই অঞ্চলটোৰ ফুটবলাৰসকলৰ উন্নত প্ৰদৰ্শনে আপ্লুত কৰিছে প্ৰতিগৰাকী ক্ৰীড়াপ্ৰেমী।
You said winning is not important. That is what you educate first to the young people and also to coaches. And you have always raised voice and concern for developing local coaches. You have always been very vocal along with some of the ex-footballers that, why take up somebody who don't even know our culture, who don't know anything about, our locality, our boys, our culture. So why don't we go for, mass development of local coaches and groom them and, build up a great coaching staff?
Oh, that's a very good point. We have seen that, in the top level, we can understand that a lot of coaches comes from abroad with a huge experience. That definitely helps. Our coaches can definitely learn from them. But just for the sake of bringing a foreigner and bringing them, if they don't understand the culture and if they don't know how people live here and how is the mentality of our people, it's difficult. So it's very important to develop our local coaches. If we have some good foreigners coming in with vast experience, definitely, they should also be involved in imparting some knowledge program for the coaches, local coaches. And, if we can have a lot of pool of local coaches, definitely it will help us to grow much better.
So how do you see the entire the system or the think tankers who have developed this youth development program for Reliance Foundation? How do you think this is going to shape up the future of Indian football?
I think it takes time for a change. It takes a lot of time, but I think the process is on. And then there are many academies and many youth development centers have come up in India nowadays. I think definitely, things are changing for much better days ahead. So the way people are taking sports nowadays is also very encouraging. Parents are also encouraging their children. Nowadays you can see that kids are hooked to mobile phones and games, not coming out and play. So I think sports is also helping the parents in a way. So there are a lot of encouragement we can see from parents as well nowadays.
There have been a lot of changes from the time when you were a player and now, because now players, footballers, they really get good financial package, which is actually good, because once you are financially independent, when parents comes to know that, okay, my son or my daughter, if they play football to a particular level or to a particular standard, they will be financially, benefited. So how do you see the entire scenario of football in India changing now?
I think the way the things are changing, a lot of better facilities coming into sports nowadays. It's a very encouraging sign. And of course, nobody wants to have a tough life once post-retirement. So during your playing career, the way the money is coming into sports is very encouraging. And then it will definitely send a very good message that, even if you, in our place, everybody is about government jobs, so nobody wants to take sports as a profession. But things are changing with money coming into sports. So even the parents are encouraging their children to take up sports as a profession, as a career. And we can see that a lot of successful athletes and a lot of successful players nowadays, setting example and becoming a role model for the next generation, so with their, you can say, comfortable lifestyles, and even you can make a career out of playing sports nowadays.
That is what the message is being sent to all the youngsters.
Yeah.
So coming back to your home state and of course, Guwahati, Assam, not being able to live up to the expectation. There was a time when, Assam football was, well known. Trophies, Bodler Trophy was the epicenter of football tournament, and then people from all walks of life used to come to this particular stadium. But things have really changed now. It's a sorry state of affairs when it comes to football in Assam. Where do you think Assam is really lacking behind, and where do the think tank really needs to think about now?
As I'm aware of the current situation, I think nowadays the league runs only for 3 months. And there is no regular football activities, I think, which definitely hampers the club culture setup. Because if there's a continuous process of competitions and the league is stronger, then definitely we'll see a club culture and the competitions and football activities happening throughout the year. That will help the athletes and the coaches alike. So if football is only run for 3 months and there is nothing happening the rest of the year, then definitely it hampers the development process. And the one thing what I can see is the lack of grassroots activities also, adds to it. I think we need to step up and speed up the grassroots development process, work with younger kids, and then at the same time, I think coach education program is also very important. We need to upgrade our coaches. It's Assam, one of the biggest, largest state in Northeast, with a lot of players playing for the national team. We don't have many qualified coaches from the states. So that is one of the reasons. I think as current people, they can, I believe that there's a coaches association also being formed here in Assam nowadays, Football Coaches Association. So I think they should take up the matter and maybe speak to the state association so that they can invite AIFF to conduct football coaching courses more often.
বৰ্তমান পেছাদাৰী ফুটবল জগতত অসম তথা উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ 70% খেলুৱৈ ভাৰতৰ বিভিন্ন ক্লাবৰ স্থান লাভ কৰিছে। ISL, I-League, ভাৰতীয় দল সকলোতে উত্তৰ পূৰ্বাঞ্চলৰ ফুটবলাৰৰ দপদপনি দেখিবলৈ পোৱা গৈছে। ডক্টৰ তালিমিৰেন আওকে আদি কৰি প্ৰতিগৰাকী ফুটবলাৰৰ প্ৰদৰ্শন প্ৰশংসনীয়।
So, it's equally important with the Prime Minister coming up with, various slogans saying Beti Khilao. So how do you think it is very important for the girls also to come up and play? Because we have seen Bala Devi doing so well, we have seen Bembin doing so well from this part of the region. Those girls are really inspiration for all of us, not only for people from the northeastern part of India, but for the entire country. A proud moment for all of us. So how do you think, girls can, come up and, take up more and more football as a career, as professional footballers? What needs to be done more? Because not just giving slogan is not enough, What needs to be done?
We spoke about Bala Devi, she has definitely taken the footballing part for the women's
to a different level.
To a different level. So I think our society is quite open to girls participating, but it's not in the rest of the country. But things are changing. You can, we see a lot of changes are there. But to grow the sports for women and girls in Indian circuit, I think we need to create a lot of competitions for them. We don't have many competitions for them, and at the same time, there has to be some kind of job opportunities for the girls as well. You can see a lot of boys there. Once you reach a national level, they get facilities, but not for the girls. There's no job scope for the girls. So I think if once that is created, I think that will definitely boost up the morale of the girls taking up the sport.
Absolutely, because like I mentioned earlier in my question, financial independence is very important, because sports is definitely a costly business, and to make girls aware of that potential they have from the northeastern part of India? Because our culture is quite open, like you mentioned. We do not have a different, culture for boys and for girls. So for girls to come up and take up sport, any sport, not only football, there has to be certain kind of special schemes made up by the thinkers.
Definitely, as I said, first of all, IWL runs for just 1 month. If again competitions, more competitions for them, and if the league is run for a longer period of time, and there was an announcement that each ISL club must have a women's team.
Yeah.
I think that will definitely add flavor to it, because you will have more female fans following the game at the same time. There will be a family discussion. If the fairer sex is more into sports,
Right.
then the sports will be discussed at home, and which will help the children to take up sports early on. So because we don't start very early, so if we have to be a champion, I think we need to start very early. So if the women also start taking sports seriously, I think definitely the children will take up sports early, very early.
Right. So we are right now in Nehru Stadium. I mean, Nehru Stadium ot bohi aso. Nehru Stadium ote asolete Gumpe Rime bole bohu kini teo nostalgic muhurto ase. Ei muhurto kini bikhoye janu ahok teo pra. Like you mentioned earlier, this is the place which really makes you nostalgic.
Yes.
Share some very, very nostalgic moments with us.
My football journey started from Guwahati. I came down to Guwahati, and then I joined Sports Authority of India. We used to stay in Dispur last gate, near that neurological center hospital.
Okay.
We used to stay there, and we used to travel the city bus, get down at Uluvari and walk up to the stadium, and we used to practice here every morning. And this is how my football journey began. And then during my time in Guwahati, played for a few clubs like Rising 11, Maharana Athletic Club, and then represented Assam State on various national championships as well. So that's why it is very nostalgic to be back here in this very stadium where everything started for me.
Yeah. And of course, and now sitting here inside the premises of Ajibova Sports Complex and discussing sports, discussing football and its future and the northeastern part of India. So really this is a special place for you and a special moment for you, I guess.
Of course, somewhere where you started, you started a journey, and we used to train day in and day out, and used to be a ball boy during the Bodole Trophy. Those days, Bodole Trophy, we used to have foreign teams coming here,
yes.
and the stadium used to be packed.
Yeah.
And then we used to be the ball boy, and later on we started participating there. And now coming here and doing an interview and speaking, it brings a lot of memories back to my mind.
Absolutely, good memories, in fact. So you have always been very, very positive about football in Northeast and football in India as a whole. You have seen a lot of football, a lot of different football in your entire career. How optimistic you are about the fact that football in the next 5-6 years in India is going to have a huge change, and there's no dearth of talent, but a lot of changes, positive changes will come up. How optimistic you are about this?
Anything we do, we need to be optimistic. We need to have that positive mindset when we jump into something. So of course, when football has always been my passion, and then as a player, as a coach, and continuing in the same sport, and then I believe that things will improve. Last couple of years, we have conducted Under-17 World Cup. The Under-17 Girls World Cup is also coming.
Right.
And then Asia Cup is also, Women's Asia Cup is going to be held in India. And with these kind of international competitions coming up in India, I think, the infrastructure development is definitely taking place. And then, and then the facilities are improving. And then investors are also started coming in.
Right, corporates are coming in.
Yes. So I think these things will definitely take football forward. I believe that we'll be doing very well in the coming next 5-6 years.
Right. On that very note, thank you so much for giving us an insight of what you believe and giving us a lot of details about future planning and how Indian football will look in the coming years, and of course talking a lot about women football. Thank you on that very note for talking to us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking about sports and doing the same thing here in the very place where I started my footballing journey. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. গতিকে বহুখিনি কথাই তেওঁ ক'লে নেহৰু ষ্টেডিয়ামতে প্ৰথমে তেওঁ আৰম্ভ কৰিছিল তেওঁৰ ফুটবলৰ জাৰ্নি তেওঁ জয়যাত্ৰা আৰম্ভ হৈছিলে নেহৰু ষ্টেডিয়ামৰ পৰাই বৰ্ডলৈ ট্ৰফিত তেওঁ বল বয় হোৱাৰ পৰা বৰ্ডলৈ ট্ৰফিত নিজেই তেওঁ এগৰাকী খেলুৱৈ হিচাপে পদাৰ্পণ কৰাৰ পিছত তেওঁ বহুখিনি ঘাট প্ৰতিঘাতৰ মাজত তেওঁ সাকসেসফুল এটা ফুটবল ক্যাৰিয়াৰ শেষ কৰাৰ পাছত তেওঁ এতিয়া খুব সুন্দৰ এটা পজিশনত আছে তেওঁ কোচিং কৰি আছে এডুকেটৰ হিচাপে কাম কৰি আছে আৰু গোলকিপাৰ কোচ হিচাপে তেওঁ বহুখিনি নতুন লৰা ছোৱালীক তেওঁ কোচিং কৰি আছে বহুখিনি কথা আমি আপোনালোকক দিবলৈ চেষ্টা কৰিলো আশা কৰিলো আমাৰ আজিৰ ক্ৰীড়াংগনৰ এই এপিসোড আপোনালোকে চাই ভাল পালে ধন্যবাদ